Hey, today we're at Actual Coffee here in Perrysburg with master coffee brewer Lance Roper. I don't even know if a lot of you know that Souk has our actual own blend. At the end of the meal, a great coffee can finish off a great night if you have crap coffee. I had heard the great things that Lance was doing, so I gave Lance a call. He had me come in for a cupping, and the rest is history. Lance is...
The louder you slurp, it's kind of like a bravado sort of thing when you're cupping. You know, the loudest slurper is the most impressive coffee taster. And all the other professional coffee tasters just sort of bow down to them at the cupping table.
Is there like some slurping envy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that totally.
And the louder you slurp, the more accurate your flavor notes are. So when you're telling others like what you tasted in the coffee, if you slurp the loudest, then pretty much they're all wrong and you're right.
Fair enough.
That's all I got. Are we done here?
So, Lance is awesome at what he does. He brews for a lot of local places in the Toledo area and also up in Michigan. So we're gonna head on back and see what he has to show us. Are we talking about portion control?
Portion control.
Portion control. If any of the guys in the kitchen are watching, portion control. I can't say any of these. I don't even... What is this called?
It's coffee. How's my audio? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're loud. Just go ahead and cut it back. So what we're doing is, this is called a fragrance when it's in its dry state. And when we pour water over it, we'll be getting the aroma.
Okay. So that's a major part of, like when we came in and I gave you a call and I said, hey, I'm looking for a great coffee for Souk. And then I think the whole table was full. It was like I've done wine tastings, beer tastings, scotch. It was my first cupping, and it was actually amazing. It was it's something I've never done before, and it was a really cool process.
It's really, it's a rare experience to have that many different kinds of coffees on one table and be able to go through and taste all the differences and really figure out what makes coffee so unique and what makes it so diverse, because there's just a lot of different flavor profiles that we were going through.
What made you get into this? I mean,
coffee has always been something I've been really curious about. It all started with having my first French press.
Which you've converted us over to now too, which is great, because it's you know, like I had said when I talked to you the first time, coffee is the ending of experience of your meal. If you don't have a great coffee, it's like, what was everything else for? And it's the nightcap to your whole meal. So
I completely agree. And a French press is just like a really easy to drink, but still like rich cup of coffee. And I think it's perfect for what you're doing. All the coffees that we were tasting, I think we were going for something. Actually, I remember one time, a long time ago, at that Smashing Toledo party or whatever it was at Plate 21. I was just starting my company and I'd never met you.
Right.
And I was doing pour-overs of some Rwandan coffee behind the counter. And you walked up to me and you're like, do any Italian roasts?
I do them. They did. Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, no. You're like, okay.
I love Italian roast, and I think that's what, you know, I like a bold coffee, and
And I was like, great, I just ruined my chances.
shut me down fast. But you had confidence, so then here we are.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle.
I came back, so.
Totally redeemed myself. So what I'm going to do is pour some hot water over these, and we'll just kind of wait for 4 minutes. I don't want to like get in all the nitty-gritty details of like how to perform a cupping, because it's just a ton of minutia. And I think what's important is getting into it and tasting the coffee. I mean, cupping is really for roasters who are picking out coffees that they're gonna sell for, you know, the year, and it's for importers to try to figure out what coffees they want to bring in the United States. And there's auctions and all sorts of reasons that cupping is really important. But I think the average person deciding like what they like and what they want to serve, it's all about tasting it. And so we're pretty close to that point, but we'll kind of do a couple things just to get there. Like, one of the things we'll do is break the crust, which is we're going to be taking a spoon and pushing the grounds back in about 4 minutes and smelling the aroma. At that point, we'll skim all the grounds off the top, anything that's remaining. The coffee will cool down a little bit more, and we'll start slurping it. So that's the plan.
Slurping like soup?
Like soup, yeah. Souk.
Yeah, souk. It's an important process, and like somebody who's serious about the coffee, like myself or some other chefs or restaurateurs, to if they were interested in you doing their blend, you would go through this process with them if they wanted to go that extent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the only way to figure out like what do you like, what do you want to serve, what options do we have, and we'll taste single origin coffees first, probably get an idea of what kind of acidity they're accustomed to, light roast, dark roast, and then kind of, you know, tailor it back to what they want. And we'll roast coffee a lot of different ways. We try not to like do the corporate dark roast, so to speak, but I think we can find a coffee for everyone.
So tell them about what we ended up coming with our blend. We went through this whole process. I think there were probably 15 different coffee beans on, and then you went to the so-called lab and you came up with that blend for me. So give me the whole rundown on how you did that.
We came up with a blend of Ethiopian and Colombian coffee, and it's kind of a medium dark roast for you guys. And from my perspective, having that Ethiopian coffee in there gives it a lot of kind of interesting, kind of really adventurous flavors.
Different layers.
Right, it's a very complex coffee. And then the Colombian component gives it kind of this nice juicy, like snappy sort of aftertaste. And it's just very easy to drink, very, very full-bodied at the same time. That Ethiopian component to me is just, it's the most exciting coffee on the planet, is Ethiopian coffee, in my opinion. And so anytime someone can serve that, I think they're giving their customers something really special.
Nice. So, I mean, a lot of the components to tasting coffee comparable to wine. I mean, like the Colombian gives it a little bit of punch at the end, a little bit of the robust. The Ethiopian blend is our beans. I'm sorry, are kind of complex and give it all the little different tweaks of flavors, and yeah, so good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot to talk about with different coffees, and the other thing is, you know, coffee changes every year, so it's an agricultural product. Like 6 months from now, when we have all of our new Ethiopian coffee, we might want to revisit something and
sure,
say, like,
yeah,
you know, we want it to go this direction or this direction, or.
I guess, how is your market compared to like my market right now, with a slim workforce in the processing plants for meat and chicken and pork and everything right now? My prices are all going up. Do your beans kind of stabilize throughout the year? Or do you, I mean, you spend a lot of time researching, finding beans. Beans are being sent to you all the time to sample.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about the process of how you go out and select your beans.
So we work with importing partners from around the country that all kind of have their specialties in different parts of the world. And, you know, the farmers are doing okay. I mean, the last year has been tough on everyone, but it's all about getting coffee from a port in another country to a port in the United States. And, you know, not longshoremen, but everything going on in those warehouses and all the logistics, the boats, you know, shipyards, everything. There's a lot of people involved, and if for some reason something breaks down or there's a strike, like the coffee will be stuck somewhere, and it's really not good for it when it gets stuck.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it's not good for anyone, but it even affects the quality on this. So
involved in that too, I'm
right.
sure.
Yeah,
So.
big time. So I mean, I think it's, like I said, it's been tough on everyone. I know certain companies that spent a lot of money trying to get coffee in the United States last year, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
A lot of money. So.
Well, I think it's a pretty consistent industry you're in. People, it's same as the, you know, wine and alcohol, especially during the pandemic. I mean, people were consuming wine, beer, and you know they need you in the morning to.
I think in the consumer market, coffee has been really stable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're mostly a wholesale-driven company, so we sell to coffee shops, restaurants, grocery stores, that sort of a thing. But last year, just our direct-to-consumer sales went up by like 300%, which is crazy. And that happened to a lot of different roasting companies.
That is crazy.
So the online orders really picked up, which is cool.
Nice.
So, well, let's. If you want to do the honors, what you'll do is just kind of push the spoon back 3 times and kind of like have your nose in there while you're pushing the grounds back.
It's
just smell.
Yeah, it's a big nose, so I don't want to. So I'm just pushing back 3 times and then just smell?
Yeah.
We're not slurping right now?
No, not quite yet.
That's got a really nice nose to it. Nothing like the smell of coffee, man. I'll tell you.
You can just throw that wherever. Forgot my rinse cup. Dang it. We can share this. We contaminated all the other coffees. Strike that from the record. Cool. So I'm just going to clean up the top really quick, and we'll let these cool down a bit, and then start slurping.
So it's the opposite of that guy eating his soup in the restaurant that is bothering every single table around with the slurping. This is permittable here, right?
Exactly. Like the louder you slurp, it's kind of like a bravado sort of thing when you're cupping. You know, you're really, the loudest slurper is the most impressive coffee taster. And all the other professional coffee tasters just sort of bow down to them at the cupping table.
Is there like some slurping envy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I get that totally.
And the louder you slurp, the more accurate your flavor notes are. So when you're telling others like what you tasted in the coffee, if you slurp the loudest, then pretty much they're all wrong and you're right.
Fair enough.
Silence.
That's all I got. Are we done here? I've tried to not be a coffee snob. You know, like I started out as such an asshole, and it's, you know, young people, myself included, obviously, but like everything is black and white when you first get started. This is good. This is bad. This is the right way to do it. This is the wrong way to do it. I'm right. All of you are wrong. You know, and I just had that ego for a while. It just was like, you know, coffee is too diverse. There's too much gray area. Like, you can't say that just because the coffee was grown at 1,500 meters above sea level that it's going to taste worse than the one at 2,000. And like, ultimately, you're dealing with a bunch of families, like incomes. And you're talking about, you know, was this coffee better than that one? Or we're not going to bring in this coffee because it didn't have a 90 cupping score. It's just like, it's not the big picture. The big picture is we need to be sustainable with this. We need to try to help farmers with their biodiversity, with their farming practices, and we need to tell their story better. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really
So I'm
good
just gonna
yeah, just
take and slurp.
kind of fill up the spoon kind of slowly, whatever you're comfortable with, and then slurp it, and then move on to the next one and the next one, and then figure out in your head.
Slurp, dip, slurp, dip,
Yeah.
slurp. Okay. All right. All right. It's great stuff. I see why you do that now. It gives you a whole. I mean, everything has its own little taste profile too. So that's a cupping, right?
It's a mini cupping.
It's mini cupping. I think, like I said, going back to the day that we tasted together, I think there were maybe 15 or 17 of these. So it was pretty intense to break it down to two beans and combine those two beans for, you know, what you're going to put in front of people for a long time. So
Absolutely. It's the best way to taste multiple coffees side by side, you know, all the work that goes into it. And then not only that, but the process really helps you taste what it is that you're working with.
yeah, well, we greatly appreciate this, and anybody that hasn't checked out Actual Coffee should actually check it out. It's yes.
Get on there and
I'm just
check it out.
check it out, man.